All right, welcome to our first project, and this project is called Blink because that's what we're going to do. We are going to program a microbit so that the LED lights on the microbit blink. So the question here is, how can you do that? How can you program a microbit to blink its lights? That's what we're going to learn. The first thing you're going to have to do is in order to program the microbit, is get to the MakeCode website. That's where we're going to program our microbits. So here's the address right here. It is makecode.microbit.org. Just type that into the browser of either the computer or Chromebook that you are using, and then you should be able to drag it to the bookmarks bar once you're there. And when it opens, it looks like this. And you can see that this is its home screen, and where you want to start is where it says New Project. And if you click here, it's going to ask you to create a project. And the first one we are just calling Blink. Does it really matter what you call it? Not to me. But I'm going to call it Blink so I can keep track of what I'm doing. B-L-I-N-K, and create. When the workspace opens up, there are a few things that I want to make you aware of. The first thing on the left is the emulator. This is a virtual version of the microbit. And as you create your code in this workspace on the right, you can see what's going to be happening on your microbit here in the emulator. So this, as I just said, is your workspace. And then right here between the two, these are your drawers. And these are where you're going to find the coding blocks. And when the MakeCode coding space opens up, there are two that it starts you out with. One that says on start and one that says forever. And if there's something here that you don't want, you can simply click on it and drag it. And as I drag it over to the drawers, you can see the garbage can symbol opens up. And what I'm going to keep to begin with here is this block that says forever. This is a forever loop, which means whatever code goes inside here just keeps going and going and going and going. So the code that we're going to use to start is in the basic drawer. And in the basic drawer, if you click it, you will see all of the code blocks that are available opening up. And you can scroll down to the bottom here, and as I click back, it goes away, open it up. And what we're going to do with the Blink project is we are going to flash lights. And those lights are the LEDs. The LEDs are these little array of lights that are on the microbit. It is a 5x5 array of lights, 25 little LED lights. And so I'm going to grab one of those and bring it out. And if I click on these, you can see they fill in, and these are going to light up when my code tells it to. And so I am just going to make some random lights there. And then as I put it into my forever loop, that says, hey, as long as this microbit is turned on, I want you to show this light. And if you look over at the emulator here, if I press the play button, oh, I'm sorry, it's going to start up. And it is showing now those lights. Now, the question is, are those lights blinking? And the answer, of course, is no. So how is it that I'm going to get these lights to blink? Let's take a look at a flowchart of this blinking program. All right, when we looked at the introductory videos, you saw an example of a flow chart on butcher paper. And here's an example just made of shapes in Google. And you can see that in order to blink, we have to program that in. When you looked at the previous example in the emulator, my random pattern of lights was just staying on. That forever loop told it to stay on until the microbit was turned off, because that's all that was in there, was just that pattern of lights. So if a light is blinking, well, what is it actually doing? And I'll tell you right now, there is no code block in there that says blink. So when we want something to blink, what are we actually telling the computer to do? Well, if something's blinking, what we have is a light that comes on for a certain amount of time, and then it goes off for a certain amount of time. And then it comes back on for a certain amount of time. And then it comes back off for a certain amount of time. And again, we learned earlier that computers are dumb, so they have to be told all of this stuff pretty explicitly. So once we start, then we are going to tell the computer, hey, turn those lights on. And then we are going to tell it for how long. How long do we actually want this condition of the lights being on to last? So we're going to play with that in our code. So I have question marks here. And then the next thing is, if we want it to blink, is, well, then the lights have to go off. And then again, for how long? And to start with, at any rate, we're going to have an equal amount of time for our lights being on or off. As you get into this, you can choose how you want your blink to go. But for my example, I'm going to keep things even. So let's go back to the code and let's look at what we're doing. So here we see our forever loop telling the microbit, hey, forever, you're just going to show this pattern. So we just got done saying that we have to tell the computer, no, you have to show the pattern and then not show it, and then show it, and then not show it, and for how long. So let's take a look in our basic drawer where we got these LEDs, what we have to work with here. So, by the way, if you're paying attention here, show icon. If you don't feel like drawing your own LEDs, they have some preloaded ones that you can use here. And then we can also have it clear the screen if we want to for not showing. So let's grab a clear screen. And then I noticed something else in this basic drawer as I scroll down, and that is a pause. And you'll notice it says in parentheses MS here. I'm going to grab one of those as well. The pause is going to tell the computer, that is, tell the microbit, hey, once you've done one thing, hold that for a certain amount of time. Pause what you did for this many ms, which is milliseconds. Now, milliseconds are 1/1000th of a second. So 100 milliseconds would be 1/10th of a second. So a millisecond is not very much time. And you can see if you look at their menu here, they have some suggested ones. 100 milliseconds, 200, that would be 2/10ths of a second. 500 milliseconds, that's half a second, or you can go to 1 second. I'm just going to go ahead and try 200ths. So for blinking, I'm going to do a fairly fast blink of 200 milliseconds. When you do yours, you choose. So I'm going to have it show the LED, hold that for 200 milliseconds, then I'm going to have it clear the screen. Now, I'm hovering over and I'm on a computer with my mouse. I'm going to right click and I can duplicate. If you are using a Chromebook, what you can do is hover over it on the touchpad and then hold down the Alt key, and then you'll get the option to duplicate. I'm going to, same thing, 200 milliseconds, and have it pause. Now look at my emulator. So it is showing it for 200 milliseconds, then it's clearing the screen for 200 milliseconds. And then in my forever loop, it's going back to do this again. And in fact, this makes me think back on our flow chart, and that flow chart was missing something. It was missing the do it again part. Let's take a quick look before we finish up here. The part that was missing was the forever part in our flow chart. And we have put it in the form of a question in that diamond shape. So we go from start to the LED lights on, the pause, and in our case now it's 200 milliseconds. The lights are off, and then another pause, and then the computer has to ask a question. And the computer asks questions that can be answered either true or false, or yes or no. Is it forever yet? Has it reached forever yet? If the answer is yes, well, then the program stops. If the answer is no, well, then it goes back to the lights on part. And so this is why it is called a loop. It will loop through these instructions until the answer is yes. Now that we have our file and it's working, we want to transfer this file to the microbit. In a previous video, I showed you how to hook up the microbit to your Windows computer or to your Chromebook. Now, the example I'm going to show you is in a Windows computer. This is going to show you how to get the file from MakeCode down into the microbit. So what I'm going to do is just go down here and click the download button. If you want to give the file a name, you can click in this box right here and press the save button. I'm just going to leave mine for the moment untitled. And I'm going to click download. And in the Chrome browser, you are going to see in the lower left hand of the browser window, it's going to complete down here. Now this window is going to open up and give you some options. And the way I'm showing you is just to ignore these for now. Close that window with the X. And then go down to your downloaded file and click the little arrow on that. And then click on Show in Folder. Now it's going to show you the file that you just downloaded. It will open it up. And again, this is in Windows. It will highlight it. And then over on the left-hand side of my window here, you will see I have a microbit. My computer has read the microbit plugged in. I'm going to click and drag to the microbit. And once I do that, you can see here in this window, it shows it's loading. And if I look at the physical microbit on the back, I can see that yellow power light blinking rapidly. And if it's rapidly blinking, that means the file is downloading. So once I've got that, I turn it around and look at the front. And hey, my LED lights are flashing. It has worked. So the Blink program is now on my microbit. So that is our basic lesson. Now, there's some ways you can extend this, and I will show you those in the next video if you're game. If you want to share what you've done, if you have questions about how to make it work or how to extend these activities, we can meet on Thursday, July 9th at 2:00 p.m. That's 2 in the afternoon on Thursday. I would love to talk to you and give you any help that I can with this project. There will be a link in our Google Classroom to join this meet. You will need internet and the ability to participate in a Google Meet. If you have questions, apart from that, my email is gdoud, that's GDOUD, at mbsd320.org. Good luck and have fun.